Once again, leading off today's video by saying a big thank you, humbly, to everyone who continues to join us here and engage in the conversation on a daily basis, and especially those of you who have signed up over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. It's only $1 per month. Full disclosure, we just dropped a brand new video over there regarding the issue in Uganda. There is specific information that is being withheld that you need to know. Now, somebody asks, why can't we talk about it here? Well, YouTube has made the rules, nothing controversial. Now, the information is not controversial, but when you put it together and you see what's being done and what's being said, it's something that needs a lot more attention. And unfortunately, in the climate we're in right now, those types of things can only be spoken of over at the Patreon channel. Now, real quick, just for reference, today is 22 November, Tuesday, 18:27 hours. That is, of course, 6:27 p.m. in the evening for those of you in the civilian world. Here on the northeast coast of Florida, it is currently 65.7 degrees Fahrenheit. We had a high today of 72, a low of 64, and no rain. Barometer reading is 30.19 inches of mercury and slightly rising. What if I told you most Americans believe that if they go to the doctor and they're not feeling well, and the doctor takes different samples and sends them off to the laboratory, most Americans believe that the laboratory has these magical disease-o-matic 5,000 machines that take those samples and determine against any possible disease what they might have. And then, of course, when they tell the doctor what it is you actually have, then based on that, the doctor can treat you. Unless they are testing specifically for certain diseases, they don't know. You can have a couple of different things, and they would not know. Only things that are currently prevalent in the area that you live in do they test for. Meaning that, for example, if a disease from Uganda were floating around in the United States, not saying it is, but if it were, they wouldn't be testing for it. Now, what if I told you that there's a disease going around in the world right now that if you get it, it's too dangerous to autopsy your body? That get your attention? That's all I can really say. Join us over at the Florida Maquis Patreon channel. It's information you're definitely going to want to know. Now, in regards to yesterday's video, it kind of goes along with this idea in Antarctica that we have been covering for so long, this idea of the Bimini Road. 90-degree angles do not occur naturally in nature. They don't. And Florida, during the last ice age, was surrounded by some very shallow waters. Now, we also know very large predators can come into shallow waters hunting. But there's something bigger going on in the world right now that we need to pay attention to. And they're admitting it. They're slowly admitting it, but they're admitting it. Scientists make discoveries suggesting something huge could be living under Antarctica. This is 21 November 2022. Stunned scientists have discovered that there may be a large life force spanning millions of square kilometers lurking under Antarctica's icy surface, despite the continent's unwelcoming climate. Researchers have found that there may be something as big as 5 million square kilometers living under Antarctica's icy surface. The frozen continent is generally thought of as a hostile climate, with only the likes of penguins, seals, and fish being able to survive there. However, scientists have long observed blooms of photosynthetic algae that emerge in the warmer months when Antarctica's seasonal ocean ice melts away. Until recently, it was believed that the algae only appeared in the summer, as Antarctica's thick layer of packed ice would prevent any sunlight from getting through. Well, guess what? They found that's not the case anymore. They have found that's not the case. However, new research by a team from Brown University in the U.S. and New Zealand's University of Auckland suggests there could be a swath of it living permanently under the surface of the continent. Now, when you read stuff like this, here's what they're saying. Accepted science is wrong. That's all you need to pay attention to. Accepted science has now been proven wrong on a huge scale. They're saying now that life could exist under the ice sheets and exist in an incredibly, heretofore unseen, prolific way. Now, some might say, well, Florida Maquis, how would we get beneath the ice sheet to confirm any of this? Well, there's some imagery, brand new today, that I think bears looking into. I want you to look very closely at this particular image in Antarctica and tell me that you don't see a doorway right here. I'll give you, of course, as always, using Google Earth Pro, the links to where we have shown multiple times over and over again these doorways that go beneath the ice sheet. Whether they were created 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, or 100,000 years ago, these are doorways. This particular one is about 34 feet tall. For those of you in Europe and those who use the metric system, about 10 meters. It's a 10-meter tall doorway. About 4.5 meters wide, which makes it about 15 feet. Now, that's a pretty substantial doorway. There are just too many things down here, too many angles, too many things that just don't make sense. Not very far away from that. 90-degree angles do not occur in nature. For so long, they've said Florida Maquis. Antarctica is just wind, ice, rock, and snow. With the wind blowing so hard, everything that you're seeing is just a figment of your imagination, really? How could something like this occur? I mean, I would like to know the force, the method. How could something like this, beyond the hand of an intelligence, exist in such a place? This is clearly a giant doorway opening to beneath the ice sheet. This is about 60 feet tall, which is about 18.3 meters. And I'm guessing that it's just about, since it's square, about the same, might be a little bit wider. Nope, about 18 meters. Once again, 59.5, 60 feet, roughly 60 feet by 60 feet. And as you can see, it's right on the edge of a platform way that would go right into it. Stuff like this cannot be explained in nature. Wind and blown snow and rock, they don't react like this over time. Things get worn down into more uneven shapes. And continuing, you can go from place to place to place to place and find stuff like this. Look at this crevasse. It looks like somebody took a skill saw, a table saw, and cut this perfectly. I don't know how you get a shape like that. I don't know. Things don't fracture in perfect angular shapes this way without something else being at work. And when you look at the shadows, that should tell you everything you need to know. When you flip this around here and you look at the shadows with the sun, 90-degree angle, giant point. This is created. And just in this one region, there's 4 or 5 different things. Easily found. In this particular case, it's just the shadow alone. I mean, this looks like an ancient castle. You have this curved area, goes up to a 90-degree angle, and then this beautiful dome over the top of it, back down here to another 90-degree angle. Back up to another one. What we're seeing is the remnants of an ancient civilization. What you're seeing here is reflected right here. These are clearly structures that are coming through the ice due to the melting. Now, the media wants you to focus on why is everything melting. I'm kind of one of those people that has a very unpopular opinion. I don't believe in climate change solely at the hand of man, nor do I believe that the things that we're doing isn't enhancing it. There's climate change, there's global warming. The term that I believe in is man-enhanced global warming. Would it have happened anyway? Absolutely. Absolutely it would have. Is what we're doing having no effect? Well, no, that's not true either. Dumping billions and billions of tons of CO2 into the atmosphere, China bringing a coal plant online every single week, a brand new one, cannot possibly have no effect. There's another area right here I was just looking at. Looks like there's a stairway up, and there's some type of a building, the facade of it, coming through the ice. And I guess one final location. All this in just this very tiny area. Can someone explain what's going on with this platform right here? If this was just the snow melting away, why would it melt away, leaving these ridges and in this shape? And why would this be darker and this be lighter? I mean, there's very clearly something underneath the snow here that has some type of a seam and an outline. Do I know exactly what this is? No, but like I said once again, wind, ice, rock, and snow? Absolutely not. And it goes on and on. I'm continuing to look through this region, and every time I look at it, I find something else. I'll give you, like I said, once again, the coordinates. All over this entire region, there is evidence that there's something below the ice that is coming through, and if they find evidence of a civilization on this continent that's long lost, it's going to rewrite all of history. And maybe they can tell. This might be the real key. Maybe that civilization is from a long enough time ago that they can tell a story. They can tell a story of catastrophic, very fast climate change out of nowhere based on this event or these other events that happen, and it would leave some people who have made grand pronouncements about climate change with some egg on their face. I think that's the real key here. I think that's the real history. This could be from long enough ago that they would have kept track of things like massive weather changes. And if massive weather changes can happen very, very quickly, it would take those who are trying to say it's all our fault and leave them with no position. So, just the shadows alone, guys. This is evidence of buildings all over the place. So I will leave it there, but once again, there are things happening in the world right now that you need to know about. And there are places where it's too dangerous to even open up the bodies that have passed on from a certain disease. Ask yourself why it would be too dangerous to do an autopsy. I'll leave it there. God bless. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see you over at Patreon.